So for Christmas dinner, we're gonna have, it's about a 5-pound New York beef roast. So the way I start is I'm gonna season it with salt, and it's already seasoned, but I'm gonna add more seasoning. I'm going to cover it with salt and pepper and the steak seasoning and rub it all around. And I'm going to saute the outside on the stove with a little oil on the griddle, and I'm gonna get the outside brown. Once I do that, it's going to go inside of our Instapot. Now, there's nothing online that says how long to cook it in the Instapot, but I have done it once before. So I'm going to start with about 45 minutes to about an hour. What goes inside is you put your roast inside. I'm going to put 2 beef broths and also some water. I'm going to add ranch dip. This gives it a really good flavor, and brown gravy packet. Now this is going to help it get a really good sauce. And then inside this bowl is onions, and below there is green bell pepper chopped up. So this is going to be our main course. Now you could add carrots and celery and all kinds of other things, but I have that for another dish. So this meal, it's not going in. We have roasted potatoes. So right now these are just the baby potatoes, so they're the small ones. I was gonna chop them in half, but they're so small, so they're coated in oil. I'm gonna chop up some garlic, and that's gonna go on top. And then these are gonna go right onto a baking tray into the oven at 400 for about 30 minutes with the olive oil and garlic already coated on them. And they will be super soft in the middle and crispy on the outside. Now for my mac and cheese. So you boil some elbow noodles, and then you're going to drain the water. Then you're going to put them in the pan. I do this about 3 layers, so do some noodles, and then you're going to put some cheese on top. Some noodles, and then some cheese on top, and then noodles and cheese on top until your whole pan has some noodle cheese mixture laid out. After that, I use carnation evaporated milk, and I mix it with a half a pack of ranch seasoning, so this gives it some good flavor, salt and pepper to taste, and then you pour all over the top of the mac and cheese. And then you're gonna bake this for about 15 minutes at about 375. And I usually wait to put it in the oven until you're about to serve your meal, so everything's cheesy and melty and fresh and warm. We got our baby bell mushrooms. So these are gonna go into a pan with oil, salt, a good amount of salt. The salt is going to bring out the flavor of the mushroom, and you're just going to saute them. This is another one you want to wait to the end, right before you're going to serve dinner, so that they're warm and fresh and have good flavor. And the mushrooms create a really good mushroom kind of gravy at the bottom. This is going to be a new recipe, so we'll see how it turns out. This is going to be a stuffing. So start with the turkey sausage. You're going to brown the turkey sausage, and you're going to set that aside. And then you're going to get some broth. So it's 1 part broth and half part water. You're going to boil the broth, and then you're going to add in your celery, and then while that's boiling, you're going to saute some really minced onion, and you're going to get a little brown. You will add in a little bit of garlic, and then once you got a little bit of boil on your celery, you're going to add in to your broth your croutons, your onion and garlic mixture, your sausage, and I don't know how many I'm going to use. I'll see how it goes. This is my first time using these croutons, but I got a mixture of cheesy sesame, garlic butter, and Italian seasoning. And my special ingredient is going to be some mixed nuts. I use crushed walnuts, and that gives your stuffing a little bit of crunch. Now these are some carrots. I already shaved them and cut off the hard ends, so they are ready to go. So these are going to go into a pan with a stick of butter. You're going to start with a stick of butter and some chopped onion, and you're going to get that a little chopped onion and garlic, and you're going to get that a little bit brown and sauteed, and you're going to add in about 2 tablespoons of honey. So you could use the fresh raw honey or just regular honey, either one. The regular honey is going to be a little bit sweeter. The fresh raw honey is going to give it a more like deep flavor. So once you've kind of got your butter and your honey and all of that sauteed on the stove, you're going to throw in your carrots, and you're going to get them pretty coated in your mixture. Then you're going to put them onto a baking sheet, and you would throw them into the oven at 400 for 30 minutes, just like you're doing the potatoes. So these could go in at the same time. Now we got a special gravy we're going to use. So this is all onion. So what you're going to do is saute this onion slowly. So you could get this started as one of your first items, so that you're getting a really good sweet caramelized kind of flavor to the onion. And you're gonna just simmer them down. So you could start this as one of your first items, and then as they're simmering down, you're gonna pour in some, you could either use condensed milk, or you could use heavy cream. So heavy cream is going to be your really good thick creamy kind of mixture. And then you're gonna use a chicken gravy mix. So you're gonna mix that in with your heavy cream. I do a good amount of salt and pepper. Pepper really gives it a good flavor. Once this is done, you are going to put this in the blender, and you are not going to notice any of the onion in it. So this gives it a really sweet onion gravy flavor without big chunks of onion. And then we have our toppings. My brother hates parsley, so he's gonna kill me, because I'm going to put oil and parsley. I'm gonna mix that up, and I'm gonna put this on top of the roasted potatoes once they're finished. These are shavings from our carrots. They looked really pretty. I didn't want to throw them away, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet. I'm going to try to saute them and give them some flavor and use them somehow. And then this is roasted bell peppers, or these are bell peppers I am going to roast, and they are going to go around our roast when it comes out. And I'm going to use this as garnish on a cheese tray, and also just around our platter whenever we serve our food. So this is going to be Christmas dinner. It's about 12 o'clock right now, so I'm planning on having dinner ready by 4. It took about an hour to get all of my stuff prepped, and I made dessert 2 days ago, so dessert is ready in the fridge. I will tell you about those. It's a very special Christmas dessert, and I will try to show you some clips of how it's going and how our roast comes out in the Instapot. Merry Christmas! Okay, for my dry rub, I mixed garlic powder, blackened seasoning, steak spice, and salt. So I mixed a good amount, and I mixed it all together, and I'm basically just gonna rub it right into this bad boy. Alright, I always set off my smoke detectors because they're sensitive, so I'm going to turn on the fan just in case. Now this is all seasoned. I rubbed it in really well. One side is mostly bone, but the other side is more meaty, so we're going to start on the more meaty side. And I put a little olive oil on my griddle, and I'm going to set it directly on top. I'm going to let it brown. It takes a minute or 2 on each side. This side is mostly bone, but I am going to make sure that I brown the sides as well. And then after that, it's going to go right into our Instapot. So now for the sauce, I put in 1 beef broth already. I'm going to put an entire packet of ranch dip inside. An entire packet of brown gravy inside. I'm going to add some fresh garlic, powdered garlic. So I put a good amount. I'd say that was a couple teaspoons. And then I'm gonna mix it all up. And then I'll go ahead and add my other beef broth after this. I just want to get it all mixed first. I'll put my roast inside here, and then I'll kind of estimate how much I need in water to give it enough juices before we turn this Instapot on. That's mixed pretty well. My Instapot also came with this thing, so I'm going to put it on top so that the roast could sit a little bit higher, and I'm going to put the roast right on top of that. So we got a good sear going. I got both sides, the top. I'm doing the bone side just a little because there's some meat on that side. I might do the top just a little more brown, but it is coming along and it's almost ready for our Instapot. All right, we got our roast inside of the pot. I'm gonna add one more thing of beef broth. So you want to get it pretty good in there. That's a good amount. I am going, there's more in there. So I got my mixture of onions and bell peppers that are gonna go right on top, and those will kind of mix in there as they cook, give it some good flavor. And then I'm just gonna top it off with a little bit of water. You don't want it to be too full, but I did reach that max line. Now it's important that you have your lining on your Instapot. This lid is a little tricky. You want to make sure it's fully closed. You want to make sure the nozzle is airtight. If it's not airtight, it's not going to cook in the amount of time you need it to. So make sure that is airtight. We're going to come over here and we're going to move the menu. Oops, let's figure this out. So we want to go to 1. Let's see. Okay, so it's on 1. That's where I wanted it. See, this is a little tricky. That's okay. We figure it out. I'm going to put the pressure up. We want it as high as we could go. So the highest, if you see, there's different levels. 30. And start. So this is going to create pressure. Once it creates pressure, the time will start. So the time will not start until it creates pressure. So as it's doing that, it's going to cook. We will check on it. We may have to do 2 rounds, but we got time. Okay, so this is how you make mac and cheese. This was already boiled and drained, so it's already tender and ready to go. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to put some cheddar jack. I like to use cheddar jack cheese. And I'm going to sprinkle it all over the top of the mac and cheese. And I'm going to do 2 layers. I only have enough for 2 layers, but that's okay. You want to get a good covering of cheese, so don't be shy. Okay. after you do that, I have this evaporated milk, so I'm going to pour a little bit over and through it. And then I had this in my cabinet. You don't have to use it, but it works really good, so it makes it very sweet and savory. I'm going to pour half of that on top. It makes it a little bit more of a creamy mac and cheese. And that'll kind of spread out as you mix it and as it cooks, so don't worry about if it's like even or anything. And then I like to sprinkle my ranch dip on top. So that's about a half a packet. And then I'm going to put pepper on top. After that, I'm going to do one more layer, and when it's time to go, we will put this in the oven. I'm going to make some deviled eggs. So I'm going to put some garlic powder, just to give it some flavor. I love garlic. A little bit of spicy New Mexico chili. Very little because it is hot. I might have put too much. I'm going to put some garlic hummus. Some mayo and some spicy brown mustard. I'm going to squish it together, and this is going to go in the deviled eggs. Alright, so this is our gravy. So it was sauteed onions with a little bit of garlic until they caramelized, mixed with the gravy mix, and a cup of half of condensed milk and half water, 1 cup together. That was made until it became a gravy, and then all of it went in here. I did not mix it until it cooled down because it'll bust, but this is all mixed and ready to go. And I'm going to mix a little bit of the broth from our roast that will mix with this gravy. Now our roast is in here. It's ready to come out. I already opened. When it's finished, I opened the exhaust. I did do a second round. It went through 30 minutes, and I thought it needed more time, so I did another 30 minutes. So about an hour for a roast. We have our tortillas ready to go. I had some chili, which was frozen, left over. You could watch my YouTube channel if you want to see the recipe. I have my sausage browned and ready to go. That is going to go inside of our boiling broth that has sauteed onions and garlic and celery. We have mushrooms ready to go. These are going to go in the oven with our mac and cheese. And we have our carrots marinating and our potatoes marinating. It's almost Christmas dinner. Got New Mexico red chili. We have our special onion gravy. We got our roast. Got our honey glazed carrots. Garlic roasted potatoes. Our sausage stuffing. Mushrooms. Our parsley buttered biscuits. Homemade tortillas. Mac and cheese, and parsley buttered tortilla. We got our ginger peach tea, deviled eggs, and a cheese tray.